So sedimentation is a natural process. It actually is beneficial when it's balanced. It can remove sediments out of an area and then replenish them with new ones depending on time and energy that's happening in that system. So where does it happen? Why does it happen? When does it all go wrong? Sedimentation happens any place where water has the ability to transport sediments. So rocks all the way down to sand and clay, which has the finest particle size. The amount of water and the amount of energy that that water has determines the size of the sediment that can be picked up. So deeper water with a lot of energy can move large rocks. Shallow water that's moving slowly can still move clays and even some sand as it goes. So when you have a large storm and you get a lot more water and a lot more energy, it can pick up a lot more sediment and move it downstream. Now it will drop that sediment when it hits a spot that's either shallow, and so the sediment won't float anymore, or when it hits a spot where the energy drops off. Now again, this is a good thing because when you have a storm rushing through, it's going to move your sediments out of that area, which could cause your stream to become deeper and larger. And that's not always good. It's not always bad. But where it's moving some sediment out, you're hoping it will replace with some new sediments to keep it balanced. And that's what will happen as everything moves downstream and then it loses its energy. It will settle back out. When it gets bad is when the amount of sediments being transported and moved is more than the natural system can accommodate. So you had some pictures on your blog where there was a large amount of sediment that was basically drowning or covering up, suffocating the plants that are on there. Those plants were covered under so much sediment that they couldn't reach the sunlight and they couldn't grow fast enough to penetrate through the sediment before they die. This can be a sign of bad things taking place upstream. If you have a construction site where all of the trees and vegetation that normally hold the sediment in place have been removed, then that sediment's free to be moved. And so then when it's open and exposed and you have a high storm event that comes in, it's going to pick that sediment up and move it downstream. The people upstream or the people on the property might actually be sad because they've now lost a whole lot of their sediment. And the people downstream are going to be sad because now that sediment is dumped on top of their otherwise nice property, or stream bed or plants or yard, depending how high the stream water flows. I guess a lot of times the increased amount of water and energy can cause extra erosion, and it may not be necessarily something someone has done wrong. They may not have cut down all the trees and removed all the grass. It may just be that the bank of the stream can't take that much energy, so more sediment starts getting carved away. Human influence upstream that can affect these different things. I mentioned already about removing the vegetation that's helping hold that sediment in place. So in short summary, sediment transport happens when the water has enough energy to pick up any amount of sediment in the area that it's moving. The sedimentation is when that sediment actually drops out of the water because it loses energy or it gets dragged across the bottom so that there's not enough energy to keep it moving. And when that's bad is when there's more sediment than the rest of the natural habitat can accommodate to keep up with. I hope that helps. Ask if you have more questions.